Good afternoon. I'll be showing my IASP 565 project. Start off with what I did. To get the MySQL server to properly display on a web page, I used a WAMP server, which is Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP to display a web page. All right, this is my web page. We have the image, we have the video that plays. There's no sound because there's no sound on my video. And we have our sound file. We have the nice cow. Alright, I'll start off with showing off my WAMP server. Alright, this is one of the first steps in order to get everything to work. Alright, launch it from here. Alright, or you can go to your local host up here at the URL. From there, we can go to PHP myadmin, and this is where we connect our MySQL server. All right. For me, traditionally, it didn't work the way I wanted it to, and when I went into PHP myadmin for the first time, it gave me an error. It tried automatically connecting to an Apache server, and that didn't work because MySQL Workbench didn't allow it. So in order for it to force it to connect to your MySQL Workbench server, you had to modify a little text file, all right, called config.inc.php. It was in this is the pathway for it up here. When you modified that, you modified it so that you would force it to connect to the MySQL server you set up. All right. After this, PHP myadmin connected, and it showed all my tables and views and what have you. All right. After that, we started to delve into the HTTP and the PHP. Now, this was probably the most complicated portion. Getting all this set up straight was difficult, but thanks to W3 Schools and Stack Overflow and some wonderful people from class, I was able to get everything running correctly. Moving forward, we have the PHP file right here. Here you see it connecting to the MySQL server. This is the address to it, all right, the port number right here, the username, and then the password would go here. You have it echo out a table, and this is where, this is your query right here, and then you form a while loop to fetch all that information from this query, and then you echo it out right here. Now, traditionally, you would have an HTML file and a PHP file, and they would work in tandem in order to display everything. But I didn't get it to work that way. This is the way I got it to work, and this is how it shows up. So there's PHP mixed in with this HTML document in this index.php folder. Excuse me. This is the PHP information for the image. This is the PHP information for the video. And this is the PHP information for the audio. The only difference between the syntaxes between audio and images in the video are pretty much you establish a video little here and a little link right here. You have to define the height and width of the video. That's pretty much the only difference between the three. Otherwise, the source, this is the meat and potatoes of the PHP file. If you didn't get this right, it would show invalid source, and if you didn't define the type correctly, it wouldn't show up at all. So as long as you make sure that this is all sound, all your variables and all your constants are correct, it should display perfectly. Things that didn't go according to plan were this portion right here of the code. Getting that hooked up was probably the toughest part. You just got to make sure you follow the syntax correctly, make sure you define everything correctly, and make sure your pathways are correct. And what I mean by that is that you have to have in your WAMP folder, in your project portion, you have to make sure that the files that you want your SQL database to point to are in the correct folder. Otherwise, the pathway will be wrong and you'll get a whole bunch of errors. PHP does a really good job telling you like what exactly the errors are, and if you have them, Stack Overflow and W3 Schools helped out so much. There's so much information about it and about the errors. Traditionally, you want to save the pathway in your MySQL workbench, or in your MySQL server. You don't want to save the actual file in the server because that'll slow it down. So what you want to do is just save the pathway in your MySQL workbench. And how we did that was through PHP myadmin. As you can see, the pathway to my to the file is right here. Before I saved everything as a blob, which is not what you're not supposed to do. You can have it set up, however, as a blob, but it's a lot more difficult. Here you can see their blobs. This is how I did it before, and this is the conventional way. Save the pathway. All right. Other than that, the Python Django thing didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. I couldn't get it to save quickly. There was a compatibility issue, and the fix that was given didn't quite provide a fix for me. It must be different cases for different computers. But I got it set up. The databases are connected, and I got everything to display. Here's the cow video, and here's the moo. Thank you.